Hello. Well, I thought we could have a little chat about spiritualism itself, something I'm very keen on, as you've probably guessed, and it holds a lot of truth which has been proved, and we don't ask people just to believe what we say, but to experience it. And we experience it basically through mediumship, which is the way in which some people are able to develop their abilities, their psychic abilities, in order to communicate messages and teachings from the world of spirit to this world of matter. And we prove that those who pass away actually pass over into a world of spirit where they continue to live, albeit in a different form and in a different way, but as conscious individual personalities who are able to communicate back to us a little of what they experience and a little of the fact that they can still care and love for loved ones left behind, and indeed seem to take an interest in the most mundane things, mundane goings on in their lives, to prove that this is true, that they do live on. Now, spirit, what's that? Well, the spirit world is all around us. There is more space than solid. We understand that now scientifically. And we like to say that spiritualism is a science as well as a philosophy and a way of life and religion. And if you open your mind to these possibilities, and of course you could buy this book that I've written called The Spiritualists Handbook, which actually gives you a good insight into everything, even how mediumship is done, everything that you could think of to do with spiritualism. I touch on it in that book, and you can get it from Amazon, of course, being modern and all that. So about this spirit world, we are spirit here and now, and we come from spirit and we go back or onward to spirit when we finish with this physical body that we inhabit at the moment. This is nothing new. This is not actually a new revelation. This is a revelation that Jesus himself tried to explain and make people understand. And of course, like all the wise people of old, he was very keen that people should live a good life down here before passing on to the next one, because what we do understand as well to be true is that if we are wrongdoers here, if we do evil to other people and other creatures, when we pass on to the spiritual realms, we are actually going to have to face up to that and make recompense. How much better to live a good life here, the best you can, be as nice as you can to people, and when you pass on, to find yourself in a pleasant atmosphere and a pleasant sphere of life. Now, of course, we don't look exactly like we do here, which is a relief for some, but we have recognisable characteristics, and they are recognised by our loved ones and by people who knew us. So there you are, you see. Mediumship itself is something that some people say they were born with, and perhaps an aptitude for one thing or another is born into us. But it's true that I haven't met anybody yet who has tried to develop their mediumistic abilities who hasn't been able to attain some measure of success with that. And the fact is that we don't actually need to develop into mediums in order to give messages and communication to others. We can do it in order to receive that communication for ourselves. And that is a wonderful spin-off, if you like, of developing as a medium. If you get a chance, go to your local spiritualist church and find out if they have a development circle there, and go along and have a go at that. It's very, very lovely and spiritually rewarding. And that, of course, is basically the only reward there is that's worth having, because the one thing we can't take with us when we go off to spirit is any worldly goods. Agreed, we have duplicates of some of the things that we loved on the other side of life. Everything has an etheric duplicate, but it's like anything else, your hand will pass through it. So it has no material substance. It's all of the spirit and spiritual. Having talked about spiritual, that doesn't mean New Age, not in my book anyway. And some of the mystical applications that get attached to spiritualism, I don't really trouble myself about. What I do trouble myself with is prayer, asking those in spirit for help, and ultimately God, the Creator. And I've seen so many wonderful things come to pass as a result of prayer, particularly if you're praying for other people, for animals, even for the flora of this planet too, that could do with healing. It's amazing the results that you can actually receive. And of course, as the Lord's Prayer tells us, it's thy will, not my will, Lord. So we have to content ourselves that in the fullness of time our prayers will be answered, perhaps not as we would like, but certainly the correct outcome for ourselves, even if we can't see it at the time. But I think that to know that the people that we have lost to this life live on in the next, and that we will meet them again, is just a wonderful, wonderful comfort to everybody. And I don't think that mediumship should be decried by anyone professing to be of a spiritual nature, or of a religious nature, I should say, like the established churches, the established religions, who all seem to demonise mediumship. And yet this is quite a modern phenomena. And indeed, poor Socrates had to kill himself as a result of not letting go of his knowledge of the world of spirit, because he told people in ancient Greece that he had a spirit helper, and he was not going to deny that. And as a result of that, he was convicted of blasphemy and asked to drink the hemlock, which in fact he was happy to take. He could have made his escape, but he chose not to. And he knew that he was going to meet that helper of his, and no doubt just before he went over, his helper would have come to help him. And this can be seen with ordinary people. You don't have to be a Socrates or a Jesus. Everybody manifests that help, because at that point of their passing, so many, many hundreds, thousands and millions of people have had witness by those who have been near and dear to them and close to them at the time. They've seen them change and suddenly look peaceful or happy just at that moment when they're about to pass over. And my own dear mother, who used to discuss, shall we say, with me my beliefs about this, the moment that she passed over, I heard her say as clear as a bell, "I believe you." And that was what I heard. And I didn't hear anything like that ever since, but that was what I heard. And I was so glad. And, that's something about our way of life, our religious belief, that I wouldn't let go of. And I hope that this has sort of helped you a bit. And the trouble is, you know, we all miss people that have passed over, and of course they must miss us too. And it's nice to know that they do, although we would not like them to be sad, and they would not wish us to be too sad either. Because we should be glad for them that they are reunited with their loved ones. You know, they didn't only love us, and they also had loved ones who'd gone before. And so we should be pleased for them and know that they've been reunited in the heavenly realms with those that they love, and that they are moving onward on their spiritual journeys. So here we are, stuck here, pursuing our own spiritual journey down here, and you have drawn the short straw and you've decided to listen to me for a little while. And I was mentioning about prayer and the fact that we know that people are listening. If we're lucky, a saint will listen, somebody who lived a wonderfully pure life here and who is in the upper echelons of the heavenly realms, and they will hear what we have to ask, and it will be acted upon, that I can assure you. So if you'd like, we'll just close our eyes for a moment and we'll send out our thoughts and our prayers and ask, dear Lord, we ask that you give us comfort and healing at this time. We ask for comfort and healing for those we love, those who are inscribed upon our hearts. We ask also for the little children of this world, the innocents, to be looked after and given adequate food and shelter. We ask you, dear Lord, to look after the animals of this world too, because many of us love them, and especially those who are abandoned and desperate for help. And we ask, dear Lord, that the leaders of the nations be given harmony and love in their hearts where there is discord and hatred. We ask all this, dear Lord, in the name of love and light and truth. Amen. There. So, we have asked all those things. We should ask for ourselves too, you know, and don't forget, every night before you go to sleep, give praise to the Lord, be thankful for the day, and go to sleep and have sweet dreams. And in the morning, when you wake up, thank the Lord that you have woken up and you have the gift of another day. And you know what they say, it's always called the present because it is a gift. And we live in the present, we trust in the future. And we have to look back on the past and learn from it. And if we have people in our past that we have loved and are now in the spiritual realms, we can be pleased that we knew them, that we had them in our lives, and that we will meet them again in due course of time. There. So I hope that you've enjoyed this little chat with me. Don't forget, if you want to learn any more without me spouting on about it, it's in my book, The Spiritualists Handbook, and you can get it on Amazon. And it says that it's written by Lyn Gibb-de Swarte, and of course my name now is Lyn Gibb-de Swarte, after my marriage. But there. So I do wish you all the comfort, all the healing that you well deserve, and I hope that your loved ones receive that too. I know that when you watch them, that you will see that your prayers have been answered. Well, God bless you. God bless you.